In this video, I'm going to show you how to authenticate a Cognito user from a web application. This test form collects the username, the email address, and the password. When the Authenticate button is clicked, we call this Lambda function. Here is the user before the Lambda function has executed, and what you'll notice is that the confirmation status is force change password. By default, Cognito forces you to provide a temporary password and change the password to a permanent password. This is only done for the initial authentication. After that, the user would use their provided password to sign in to their account. In the Lambda function, we're using Python. On line 13, we're defining a function, getSecretHash, which we'll call later in the code. On line 19, in the Lambda handler, we get a client by using the Boto3 Python SDK, calling the client function for Cognito identity pool. On line 48, we get the secret hash by calling the getSecretHash function that we defined earlier. We pass it the username, the user pool client ID, and the user pool client secret. On line 52, we get the response by calling the Cognito client and the admin initiate auth function. We pass it the user pool ID, the user pool client ID. We set the authentication flow, auth flow, to admin no SRP auth. Now that has to be enabled in your user pool. Auth parameters, we pass the username, the temporary password, and the secret hash. On line 63, we test the response by getting the challenge name. If it's equal to new password required, which it should be if your user's status is forced password change, then on line 65, we use the client to call the function respond to auth challenge. We pass it the user pool client ID. We set the challenge name equal to new password required. We pass the response session, the challenge responses parameters. We pass the username, the final password that the user provided when they created the account, the secret hash, and the user's email address. When this function completes successfully, you should now see that your user has their email verified, the confirmation status as confirmed, and the status should continue to be enabled.